Hey, what's up, guys? This is Elo Speaks back again with another video, and I wanted to talk about a video that I'm gonna be making right now. It's more of a series or volume, and I'm gonna be titling it "Sports Wars Debates." And the first volume is gonna be Jason Whitlock threatened to expose Shannon Sharpe. So I just want to go off some bullet points that I wanted to talk about as regards to this issue that been going on. So as we know, the sports debate world, when it comes to sports media, has been going crazy right now. People has been switching teams, going to different companies, beefing with certain people, issues regarding certain media members like Shannon Sharpe, Skip Bayless, or Stephen A. Smith, Max Kettleman, or Jason Whitlock, etc. And they've all had issues with each other, back and forth with each other, and it was just interesting to see how they operate between each other. This particular one is with Jason Whitlock. So as his issue that he had with Shannon Sharpe. Now, I remember a long time ago that when Jason Whitlock was on Fox Sports One before he had his own podcast on YouTube, he did had the first things first when not first things first, my mistake. He had Speak for Yourself. That's what it was. Speak for Yourself. And on that show, what an episode, he did have Shannon Sharpe on it, and Shannon Sharpe were going back and forth with, different topics and stuff like that. That was the one and only time I think Shannon Sharpe was on the show, and you could just tell that they didn't like vibe with each other. The connection was just not there, and Shannon Sharpe ended up not being on the show at all. So that was that as regards to that type of situation. But as we know, the whole blow up between Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless on Undisputed. Shannon Sharpe ended up leaving, going to ESPN, First Take, etc. And he took Club Shay with him. He's a sole proprietor of that show. He owns that show. And now he's on the volume with the Colin Cowherd and doing business over there. Now, as we know, Shannon Sharpe been on a media campaign, and he's just been talking about his issues as regards to Undisputed and the whole blow up with him and Skip Bayless. And it looks like he's, giving his take on what the situation happened and how he felt on the situation between him and Skip Bayless. And then the point of the matter is Jason Whitlock was on the podcast talking about Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith, and Shannon was discussing the time he was working with Skip Bayless and how certain points was difficult at times when working with Skip Bayless. Now, that was the point right there. So the next point would be Jason Whitlock gave his take on the matter and didn't like the squabble between the two. But he also didn't like how it appears like Shannon was playing victim and going at Skip Bayless for the most part. I could understand from Jason Whitlock's perspective how he could look at it that way. But, in my personal opinion, I just see Shannon Sharpe giving his take on how he dealt with this situation and how, what he had to go through. Again, we're just seeing Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless on Undisputed for 2.5 hours. We don't know how they deal with each other before, like when they have to prep for the show or after the show. And with recent information coming out from Shannon Sharpe, he detailed that him and Skip Bayless didn't really talk like that as much as, the chemistry was there between the two of them on the show and how they looked like they were okay or good friends. They looked like they didn't really talk at all like that because Skip Bayless was always in debate mode and he didn't want to get buddy because he does look at debating as a competition for him, and he always wants to win and come out on top, which is understandable. He wants to be the best at his craft, even though he does have some irrational, illogical, and emotional opinions on certain sports topics, but that's a conversation for a whole nother day. But my next point I wanted to get into that the whole playing victim thing. He was just saying how, he didn't like the way Skip Bayless was disrespecting him, how there were certain points where it was difficult on working with Skip Bayless, how Skip Bayless was able to pick most of the topics for all the show, even though granted, it was more that Skip Bayless show, but it's Skip and Shannon, so Shannon should have some say in the show, but it looked like it didn't appear that way. It looked like Skip Bayless was picking on the topics, and Shannon Sharpe just had to agree and go along with the topics. So that's why when you're watching Undisputed, most of the topics is Tom Brady, Cowboys, LeBron James, for the most part. They delve into other topics, but it's more trendy things like if it was Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, or some type of outside sports. Regardless, that was like a small little segment, but most of the time they're going to get to the main topics where people like to talk about, and it generate ratings. So I can't be too mad at them because if people are watching it, that means that's what they want to see as well. So that's the next. That was one thing. My next point was Jason Whitlock threatening to expose Shannon Sharpe by detailing information he knows about Shannon Sharpe and his time when he worked at Fox Sports One, and he said if he continues going at Skip Bayless, he's going to threaten to expose. Now, my issue right here is there's no need for all that. What reason for you to like do that? Now, granted, I don't think Jason Whitlock has anything to expose Shannon Sharpe. Maybe he do, maybe he don't. But for what reason would you even want to do that? Has nothing to do with you. This is none of your business. This is between Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is a grown man. He's damn near in his 70s, so he can defend himself and talk for himself. For you to say you're going to expose him, I would like to know what you're going to expose him by, because most of the stuff that we know about Shannon Sharpe is already out there. When it comes to that allegation on CBS, he already got that situated. The whole Memphis Grizzlies about to fight the whole basketball team. We already talked about that, made a video on that. And then him not showing up to work that day. And, the bosses at Fox Sports 1 already told him about that. And then the issue with the blow up with him, Skip Bayless. We already know about the issues with Shannon Sharpe. He's a hyper-sensitive and emotional dude because he was raised by his grandma. No shade to him, but that's just the way it is. He's hypersensitive, hyper-emotional. That's just the way he is. But if he has any more information that he could expose Shannon Sharpe on, why even bring it up for what reason? There's no need for that. And he looks at it as Shannon Sharpe is slandering Skip Bayless, and we look at it as him he's telling the truth. It's not like he's saying anything that's false about Skip Bayless. Stephen A. Smith has worked with Skip Bayless, and some of the stuff that Shannon is going through, Stephen A. Smith is going through right now. So again, it's not like anything he's saying is particularly a lie. And if it is a lie, then Skip Bayless could go on his own podcast, the Skip Bayless Show, and denounce those lies like he's been doing when it comes to Stephen A. Smith for other issues that they've been having recently this whole year. But again, I just wanted to talk about that because this whole thing between Jason Whitlock being in their business, this has nothing to do with you. Mind your business. Go back to doing what you're doing. It literally has nothing to do with you. This whole issue that you have with Shannon Sharpe, I don't know if it's personal or you feel like Shannon Sharpe is doing Skip Bayless wrong. In the long run, it doesn't matter because by the end of the day, you're being petty and you're on some whole stuff saying that I'm going to expose you with information that he knows while he was working at Fox Sports 1. For what reason you even put that information out, we don't know. But I've seen that Shannon Sharpe hasn't even really responded to Jason Whitlock, so I could tell he's just going to move on and go about his business and not give this any life. So this is just one of the instances of, these sports media pundits going at each other and the little beef that they have between each other. And there's going to be more videos like this to come because I'm trying to make this a series and I'm going to have more videos in the works as regards to that. But let me know what you thought about the video. This Edo Speaks out. Peace.